For those of you that are watching this later, well, thanks for checking it out and thanks for supporting the show. I'm at officially 975 subscribers. I don't think I'm going to hit the 1,000 needed to become an official YouTube affiliate. Not this year, anyway. Maybe next year, because it recounts it at the end of every year.
You can
So,
pay a few people, right, to join?
ha, I wish. So, like 25 people. Well, I mean, I guess it really doesn't matter. Even if I got the 25 people, it wouldn't really. It doesn't recount the subscription count doesn't start over, but the hours do. So what's gonna happen is I got the amount of hours, but I didn't get the subscribers. So I'll be like right under that. It hit the marker for hours, it didn't hit the marker for subscribers. So please keep watching the show. I have a lot of great things coming up. Hey, I don't know who you are, but you're viewing it. Thanks for jumping in to our live show. You can ask us questions. You ask us anything you want. Whether we'll answer is a different story, but I'm pretty open to answer to anything. So let's bear with us a little bit. There are going to be some people joining us. And we're going to be answering questions. Let me just jump here to make sure I can share this on the greater web right now. And I don't even know. Yeah, view my channel. So let's see how finicky this app gets if I check out what's going on. Normally, oh, live. There it is. End of your recap. Okay, cool. I can share right there. Share. Cool. Oh yeah, nice. Hopefully, let's see here. So far, no comments from the one person watching this. I wonder if it's counting myself.
Who is this guy watching us?
It's me. It's me checking the channel so I can share it on the internet. That'd be pretty funny actually. So yeah, I'm gonna throw this here. Command V. I wonder what kind of photo. So me and John talk. Yeah, cool. It's not showing it's just showing a city. Like it's got the background of my profile as
All
the
right.
photo. So that's good news because I was saying the thumbnail is always kind of crappy. Um, so yeah. So here we are here. Let me put this here and grab the title and throw it here. Then grab this here, description, throw it up. So a year of podcasting. How'd your year go?
How did my year go? Not much podcasting. But the club's doing very well. Got some good articles coming up. If anyone's got to read, did an article with Al Dacascos, did an interview Hawk Hawkheim this year. And right now I'm trying to push my book, man. I'm trying to get some people to look at my book, and guys, you got some more people interested now. So I'm hoping that now it's enough out there that I can push it a little more easily. You
Nice.
had your thing today too, didn't you? Did you have your tournament in-house?
Yeah, we had our in-house tournament and I followed Hackelman's format to a certain degree. There was mostly kids, so we didn't do any a lot of these kids are beginners, like some of them just joined a few weeks ago. So I figured I'd just keep it easy and the sparring would be grappling under a sumo rule set. Kind of sumo. I say sumo, but it's not sumo. It's actually based there's so in MMA right now in the UFC they have the 3 point rule. So if a person has their hand and two knees on the ground, that's when you can initiate a ground and pound. Before that, you can't. Like you can't. I think it's no. That's when you can't. You can knee them in the head. No, you can't knee them. They take the knees out to the head. Yeah, that's when you can start the ground and pound. You can essentially start the ground and pound with 3 points. The person has two knees and a hand on the ground.
Mhm.
And I think that's no, it was the knees. It was the knees. There's different rules, but I
Yeah,
know
we were talking about this a long time ago, I remember. I
talk
don't
about
remember what we
they
decided.
keep changing the rules. So like, entertain us, Moke the genius to entertain us. Well,
Is
okay,
that John Wick?
I'd
I
play
see
you.
lights in the back. I see the
Oh
facial
yeah,
hair. What's
Tim's
going
here.
on there?
Tim's here. Tim is running security at a bar, and now he's gonna join us. And we're
Actually on the job.
cheers. Oh wow, look at that! Turn my glass. It's censoring it. Good job. This is our first shot as we get stuff started. I don't know how entertained you'll be, genius. Moke the genius dog. But any questions, man, throw them out. Cheers.
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 This is the end of the year wrap up. So yeah, and then, yeah, if you guys know more, if whoever's watching knows more about the rules than I do, go for it. But I know that I want to say that the 3-point rule, the guy has 2 knees, 1 hand down. In the UFC, you can no longer knee the guy. So if you're clinching and kneeing him in the head, once he's got 3 points, 2 knees, 1 hand down. And this caused some controversy in a fight happening earlier. I forgot what it was. And if you know it, go ahead and comment there on the comments. Where a guy purposely did not put his hand down. No.
No, he purposely put his hand down.
He purposely put his hand down because he saw the knee coming. He was in the clinch and getting taken down. He saw the knee coming, and he purposely put his hand down, got kneed in the head, which ended up, Toby Eric, hey, Toby! Representing Kajukenbo Top 5. Love your stuff, man. I love your channel, too. And the stuff that you're doing with your ranch. You got like a ranch, man. I like it. So yeah, that's what he did, right? He purposely put his hand down to avoid eating a knee. And then he ate the knee anyway. I think the guy got disqualified.
I know there's a reason for the rule. That's kind of the reason I'm not a big fan of the competition stuff. I mean, it makes sense. He's knew that he was there. And
that being said, go ahead, Tim.
One championship got rid of that rule. They can kick grounded opponents in that now.
Oh yeah. They kept the old rule. They can't stomp in one championship though. But they can knee to the head on the ground, right?
Yeah. Yep. That's how Demetrius Johnson got taken out because dude had him fucking pinned up against the cage and kneed him while he still had one hand on the ground.
Yeah.
It happens.
I'm torn because on one hand that's probably bad for the fighter's long-term career, but on the other hand, that is a more realistic thing.
So what do you guys think? I have 2 viewers right now live. What do you think? Do you think fights in a cage for sport should mimic street rules more or less? We're not debating here. Obviously, we're not taking anything serious. We just took a shot. So this is just an end of year recap.
That's gonna be real serious after a few more shots.
Yeah, no, maybe we'll get realistic. Luckily, we're distanced by the internet.
But what was your question? You were saying.
So what do you guys think? Do you think less rules in the cage? So John, you were saying that it increases their longevity. If you're a professional fighter and you can't get kneed in the head on the ground, well, then you're going to be able to do more fights and pay more bills. But it doesn't reflect more of the full contact rule set that MMA tends to push forward. So the UFC got rid of it. One championship did not. They're still keeping it there. What do you guys think? What do you think, Tim? John already shared his idea, his thoughts on it.
I was there on the side of realism, so I prefer to keep them in. For one, how common is that situation compared to getting kicked in the head anyway, or kneed in the head from a full clinch? So, it's all fair in love and war. And I think it keeps it more realistic, and it also stops the favoritism towards grappling. You can't just pull guard if you know a dude's going to be coming down with stop kicks and knees, etc. Or shoots even. Right? One of the reasons why you can't always knee against a shoot is because if they hit those 3 points of contact, you get disqualified. So, I prefer slicing. I grew up with pride.
Yeah. I always think of the Kajukenbo being on Fight Quest on that TV show. If you guys know Eric, you remember Eric Coleman? He was sparring with a dude in the Gaylord camp, and the dude tried to take him down and couldn't. And Eric basically did a UFC illegal move to his back with his elbow. Like it was just something.
12-6.
It tore him up and dropped him.
He did a 12-6 elbow. Well, not including when Eric threw him into a post. Let's not
That's
forget
another story.
that. Let's not forget that.
But that's another story. But yeah, I think looking at it, I think that's what I feel like.
That was the same episode, right?
Yep.
That was the same episode.
That's the one where the guy got elbowed in the spine.
Eric threw him into a post. I think was that in practice? That was in practice though. That wasn't the actual fight. That was later during the actual fight. He dropped him with the 12-6 elbow.
I think they were working. It wasn't at the end of the show. I think they were maybe doing some sparring or something in the middle.
It wasn't the actual match because at the end they had
not the final match. No, not the final sparring at the end. No.
Yeah, that was the final. That wasn't the final sparring. That was during training.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, looking at that, I feel that there is reason for the sport to be safe. I feel weird about the oblique kick. Just because, and just that side kick to the front of a person's knee.
You too,
I
buddy.
don't like how that feels. That gives me shivers every time I see it
Thank you, man.
because I know how dangerous it can be, you know.
You too, buddy.
But then at the same time, there's a lot to be said looking back to the original UFC fights, UFC 1, when there were no rules. I think there's a lot to learn there for a lot of fighters.
Yeah, I mean, the thing about the oblique kick, I saw someone posting this the other day. I'm like, if you're gonna get rid of the oblique kick, then you're gonna have to get rid of leg locks. The risk of you tearing up your knee is there. And then what? You're gonna have to. Hey, in judo, that's why they end up getting rid of double legs. Someone messed up their knee. So like that one is a little harder because knee injuries tend to be kind of universal with contact sports.
That's true, but it is really much the same thing. I mean, a knee injury will screw you up for the rest of your life. A brain injury is going to screw you up for the rest of your life. I mean, what is it? Which one's safer? Is it boxing or UFC or MMA? Like something about the repeated hits to the head of boxing is actually
MMA is safer.
MMA is safer.
Right, because you just knock them out and that's it.
Yeah, but
as opposed to 12 rounds of constantly getting hit.
And then being told for 10 seconds you can get back up and do it some more.
Right.
And the concussive force of the gloves.
Right.
The one, the glove has mass and it has that concussive force that releases more head rattle.
That is. And you know what? This is the one thing about Mayweather. Everybody hates on Mayweather, and because he's just kind of an asshole sometimes, but he's playing that safety game. He's not trying to rope-a-dope the guy. He's trying to actually stay alive and, enjoy his retirement, I think.
So again, so this is the end of your recap. Thanks for joining us. Someone just came in and after like, I'm out. I can't keep up with this conversation. Okay, you can ask any question you want, and we'll bring it up. So yeah, to go back to that, one of the rules I brought in for the sumo was the person didn't lose until they had 3 points down. To kind of get him used to the idea that if you have 3 points down, then you're down on the ground. That's when you're really down on the ground because now you're no longer defending the takedown. That's what I was trying to explain to the guys because I'm in Japan, so they were looking at like very strict sumo rules. Even if you feint to look like you've lost your balance, in regular sumo wrestling, they'll stop the match and say you won, right? Because you flipped. But I was explaining to everyone, this is why I said it's Kajukenbo sumo wrestling. I'm saying sumo because that's what you understand. But in reality, it's more of a grappling rule set match where the person can do anything they want. Really, they can get a ring out or they can get a takedown. And it was pretty surprising. I was surprised. One of the smallest people, and he's new. He's he's a white belt. He worked his way and got silver all the way up against one of the biggest people.
Nice.
Who actually no, the biggest person lost. The biggest person lost. She beat her older sister, who she always loses, and she actually beat her sister. And then I kept the categories there just so that the kids can learn the idea that there's going to be a point where you're just going to lose. It's just, since it's not, it's not full contact or anything. It's just, I think it's a good lesson for them to figure out. Like, hey, there's going to be situations where you're going to try your best, and the odds are against you, and that's what happened at the very end. The smallest kid, who I didn't think would be at the end, because in my head I thought, oh well, I got to be careful with the two bigger ones because they might take everyone out and end up taking first, second, and then the next biggest kid is going to get third. But that's not at all what ended up happening.
Right.
It was actually one of the smallest kids that beat bigger kids by just being smart. My daughter was mad that she lost because she aggressively tried to come at him, and he didn't. He did what he did last time. He just got out of the way, and she lost her balance and got out of the way.
Yeah, it's Aikido right there.
Like, hey, well, that's what it is. So like, it was interesting. It was fun. The Unukai was fun. There was like a good turnout. About 20,
nice. How many people?
About 20 kids.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
And we did the whole red team, white team. So like the kids can compete individually in each category. And they also had team points. So that was
red white. You did the whole Kohaku.
Yeah.
Red white.
Red white. So like they would and I reminded them, remember the red white's kind of random. We don't know who's gonna win this. So that's what like so and they get like, and it's like I gave them a trophy. The team members, we make the team right then and there. And I made sure the teams were pretty even. That none of the kids felt like one team was stronger than the other.
Right.
So yeah, and actually the team that I thought would win with I thought had the stronger, bigger kids actually lost. It was interesting. It was actually the weaker team, the weaker looking team that ended up winning.
I've seen some of the sumo guys out here. Like I used to go to a Budo seminar up in Tokyo every year, and they would have some sumo guys there, and they're not like E Honda. They're not always huge and fat. A lot of them are actually they got some belly. They're not like rail thin, but they're not this big blob. They're actually pretty muscular, and they don't it's not just about being huge and being bigger than the other person. There was one of the champions recently was actually kind of small, I think. Really small compared to the other people. So yeah, you're right. There's something about the size is not important. It's not about being big. There is actually a lot of strategy in sumo.
Yeah, so it was a fun competition, especially for the kids that had never done any type of competing before.
Yeah.
Next year I'll probably throw in a continuous. I'll probably throw in like an MMA kickboxing, couple more like a kickboxing rule set.
Mhm.
Um, but they just weren't ready for it this year because they haven't
Yeah,
been.
yeah.
They just started. Some of the kids started like a month ago, so I kind of wanted to give them a year and then get them started next year. We'll have a kickboxing division so that they can kind of do a little bit of a ground and pound. And I don't know if it's a ground and pound as much as I wanted. For the kids, I just want them to do stand up and keep it light.
Let me know that
Use
happens.
the Kubo. Use Kubo rules. I think it's Kubo. Kubo.
Yeah,
They have great rules for that.
yeah, and that's kind of what Hackelman does that for the adults, but I'll have to talk to him if he's doing that for the kids. So like that's what I'm going to check in on. Is he doing that for the kids? Because that's what I try to look at is safety. But the whole thing happened. No one got hurt. Everyone had a good time, and that was pretty much the main point, right?
Good.
So cheers. Shot number 2.
Good record. I lost my little bit.
So yeah, a year of
I just want
podcast.
to say that Tim is pretty intimidating as his security image next to a big welcome sign.
Welcome.
It's awesome. Welcome.
Oh yeah, for those of you who just joined us, Tim is running security at a bar while also being live on our show, which we appreciate.
Alan's daughter cut off. She took her shirt off at the bar. Okay.
What did they say?
Someone took their shirt off at the bar, so
Yeah, we just had a lady get
take care of
one
that.
of the owner's surrogate daughter just got cut off because she's out down there fucking flashing people.
That's enough. You know you've had enough if you start flashing people. If I start flashing people, this live is done. Just tell you that right now.
Yeah, I got to talk to you about that, dude. When we drink, we need to talk about this.
Yep.
So yeah, a year of podcasting.
Tonight's been a good night, no problem.
We got I got quite a few guests, and for those of you paying attention to the show, on December 25th, there's going to be a surprise episode, so keep an eye out for that. I'm not going to say who it is, but I will say that you'll know who they are, and it's a really big person in the Kajukenbo world.
I was going to ask a question, but I'm not going to say just to
Yeah,
accidentally guess correctly.
It's an Easter egg that I'm throwing out there. So if you're listening to this and watching this, yeah, on December 25th,
You're interviewing Jesus?
it's gonna be a surprise guest, and
Hey, he never tapped.
but yeah, that's pretty much it as far as my end of year recap. Do you guys have any questions?
What are your plans
You,
for the new year?
Yep.
What is your goal? What's going to happen with Social Gelo?
I'd like to interview more people from other martial arts. I love doing Kajukenbo, and I know we keep joking around that it's the Kajukenbo podcast, and I keep saying it's not.
It is.
But I would like to bring in more martial artists from other styles to start talking about what they do and how they got to do the same format as I do for Social Gelo. And I'd hope that the Kajukenbo community could enjoy listening to those podcasts as well.
Good.
I think one of the biggest problems, and we're live, and here we go. One of the biggest problems that the Kajukenbo community has is that they kind of live in a bubble where they have all these people who are super famous, and we know who they are, and Kajukenbo people know who they are, but the rest of the public And if you don't believe me, just turn around and someone ask them what Kajukenbo is. Go online. Ask your friends on Facebook that don't know that you do Kajukenbo what they think Kajukenbo is.
What is Kajukenbo?
I'm not going to do that. Not going to do it. But I think that's one of our biggest issues is as Kajukenbo practitioners, and that's always been one of my underlying goals, which is why people are calling this the Kajukenbo podcast now, was to try to make a dialogue where people who are interested in learning what it is can come to a place and kind of hear about from people from different experiences and figure that out. But I just don't think that many people, if I fall under the same trap that I see a lot of us falling under, where we talk about people who we have a lot of respect for in the Kajukenbo community, but no one else who knows who they are. Yeah. And I act like my podcast is somehow doing really good because I'm interviewing these people. I'll fall into the same trap. Kind of like what's the word I'm looking for?
Not bubble.
There's a bubble, but there's a psychological term I'm looking for. I forgot what it was. Either way, it's not cognitive bias. It's a cognitive bias, I think. But yeah, I'll get sucked into the idea that I think I'm huge. Thanks, man. You're doing a great job. History smiling kindly in your efforts. I appreciate that. Moke the Genius Dog says, you've done a great job, Angelo. History will smile kindly in your efforts. I hope so. So what I really hope though, is I can make it so that I can bring in more people from the general public. They'll be entertained by the podcast and they'll want to know more about Kajukenbo and any martial art. Confirmation bias. Thank you.
Confirmation bias. Yeah. Okay. I've seen that.
Yeah. It was like at the tip of my tongue, but the rum just deleted that. So yeah, like I don't want it to be a confirmation bias where I'm saying all this stuff about Kajukenbo and I make all the conversations about Kajukenbo with other people and we all pat each other in the back and we're like, hey, well, I know Rob Rowland has a much horrible term for this, but
we're live.
But we all pat each other on the back and we're like, hey, we're all doing a great job amongst each other, amongst ourselves. But I would really like that to be more out in the public so that the public can also recognize it, because I still feel in my heart that Kajukenbo has a lot of value, and it's not just because I do it; it's because I've seen it, I've experienced it, and I've experienced other martial arts. It's not just like I only do Kajukenbo, and that's what I hope for next year. I hope I can kind of move forward, still have a lot of stuff about Kajukenbo, but also I'm hoping my plan is to bring in people from other martial arts so that they hear about what I'm talking about, so that they also hear about Kajukenbo and they can share that with their martial arts communities. Because it's really hard on YouTube to get the attention of your general public. Your general public on YouTube is all over the place. They like to hear certain talking points, and the AI likes to push certain talking points on top of that. You see, someone asked me the other day, why isn't your channel bigger? I really feel your channel should be bigger if you have so many different people. I'm like, well, one of my biggest problem, first of all, is I'm not 10 minutes, 5-minute videos. I don't do the whole, this is the best. Let me show you the best technique.
You also don't show enough leg. You need to show more leg.
Yeah, show leg in your thumbnail. That'll get people to watch your. And that's true. You think we're joking that there was a whole article written about that, about someone who was posting. I forgot what they were posting. It had nothing to do with the thumbnail.
Yeah, it was the I talked about that because if you guys know John Dies at the End or Cracked.com, one of the old head editors, David Wong, Jason Pargan, he talked about, actually, there was some Vietnamese girl, I think. She would do these really peaceful videos of her just like gathering rice, doing some things by the river, really basic cooking. And then one video, she happened to like pull up her skirt and a bunch of her thigh was showing. And then suddenly it went from like 2,000 views to like 10,000 views. Just that one little thing. And that was it. It was just the same type of video as everything else.
Yeah. So it was like, again, there's other ways that the AI does that. And one of them is by doing the top 3. If you do the top 3 martial art techniques, if I threw out the podcast, if I started saying more inflammatory things on the podcast and saying that, this martial art sucks and that kind of stuff, and being very dichotomous in my presentations, It will help you. I know a guy who does that, and his channel grew real quick because of it. It just goes against my personal beliefs. I'd rather it stay at 975 and stick true to what I believe in
You know
than
what? As you're saying this, you don't want to follow that path. That's why you're not as high in YouTube as you should be. I think that's why Kajukenbo is not popular. They don't want to follow that specific path at the same time. There's a big argument to be that you are doing exactly what Kajukenbo is doing, and that's why it's not as popular as other arts.
Angelo, have you made any attempts to reach out to the bigger names of Kajukenbo, like the many of the Jets and the Liddells of the world?
so here's the thing. So Benny the Jet is oh yeah, I have. Okay. An answer for that one, yes. I did try contacting Benny Rodriguez and yeah, I can't get past his marketing team. And then Chuck Liddell, I haven't tried to contact Chuck Liddell. I'll probably have to go through some different connections. I've been just trying to see if I can the way I'm kind of checking to see how that would work is I'm trying to see if Hackelman can get a hold of them for his show. And that's a good barometer. If Hackelman can get them on his show, then I know I might possibly be able to do it.
You
But
should
if
probably
Hackelman,
just try Liddell, man. Hackelman actually told me, like, I asked him, do you think Liddell would be up for an interview? And he said, yeah, go ahead and contact him. Like, I just never got around to it because I'm not doing the big podcasting regularly. But he sounded like might be easier than you think to get Liddell up.
okay, so yeah, I mean, I'm going to consider it.
That'd be a great way to help
Last shot.
push you into the mainstream because names like Chuck Liddell, UFC legend Chuck Liddell, that's a hell of a title.
Yeah,
It is.
it is. Cheers.
Cheers. Hear about
Well-
Tito Ortiz in the news?
What happened to Tito Ortiz?
Charter.
Apparently his new restaurant is not doing very well.
But he didn't get arrested.
No, he didn't get arrested.
Oh,
But
good.
his restaurant got some really bad reviews and some health problems, like not storing food correctly. And then after all that, I see a video of him cutting onions and getting blood all over the onions. I don't know what's up with that guy.
Well, running a restaurant's not easy.
That just comes to mind as we talk about Liddell and famous people.
Yeah.
Those two, they had quite the what's the word?
They had like a rivalry thing going for a while there, right? There was like almost like I don't want to say pro wrestling, but that kind of like
Yeah, it was a bit of a rivalry.
a little bit of a rivalry. There was a few rematches. I didn't follow the history too well on that one, but
Nah,
yeah.
I was happy to see Ortiz lose the second one, but the third one, I don't know. I have a feeling they might have. This is just totally guessing. I have a feeling they might have buried the hatchet, and the third match was kind of a help to both of them.
Probably. So before I go, and thanks. 5 of you are watching. I appreciate that. This is one of my first lives on my channel. So to answer Tim's question a little bit more, that's my plan. My plan is to try to continue to bring people from other martial arts, just to try to vary it up, and hopefully they can talk about the show to other people, and it'll get more people to talk about Kajukenbo in other circles. Because I mean, again, it's not that I've given up on the idea of the general public massively knowing what Kajukenbo is, but it would help us a lot if other martial arts know who we are as well. And that's probably a easier place to start than someone who's never done any martial arts, in my opinion. I don't know. What do you think, John?
Say it one more time. You said
Oh,
probably
yeah.
got cut out. Sorry.
So I
We need-
think it'd be easier to reach out to
More
other
cross pollination.
so that other martial artists, because
Okay, you talking about what you're saying earlier to get. Yeah, I totally agree. I think that would help. I mean, we typically don't watch Aikido podcasts. We don't watch Kung Fu podcasts. We don't watch Karate podcasts. But if there was a Kajukenbo guy on an Aikido podcast, we might watch it. I'm sure it worked the other way around as well. I think there is a huge market out there of martial artists who are into podcasts and things, but kind of like Kajukenbo, there are a lot of people stuck in a bubble. I think there are very few people who are really open to everything and watching everything at the same time, I'd say.
Yeah. And so Johnny Metal asks, what do you think of Tim's beard? Now, this is kind of a biased question because Johnny Metal is John Hojlo. He was typing that while we were doing the live.
I don't know what you're talking about.
But I think it's a beautiful beard. And I think that come Christmas, right around the corner, you would be great Santa. A nice.
I'll dye this white. If this can get like a certain amount of likes, I'll dye this thing white.
Oh boy,
Awesome.
You heard it here.
It is live. It is on film. This cannot be edited. It
Live.
is now official.
Wait, how many likes are we talking here, Tim?
What's a good shot for you? What do you want?
I don't know. What do you want to dye your beard or not?
200 likes and this beard will be white.
How many?
200.
Okay, there you go. If this live video gets 200 likes on YouTube,
Like right now.
pop, 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 pop. If it gets 200 likes, Tim will dye his beard white for Christmas so he can be a respectable Santa Claus. A muscular Santa Claus, but a respectable one for that.
There you go.
You heard it. You heard it here. You heard it here. 200 likes for Tim to dye his beard white.
It's official.
Official.
The Kajukenbo Santa Claus.
So another event I'm going to next week. Next week, my calendar. Yeah, next week. I've been doing this thing called a kick out. So this kickboxing gym has been holding an event where they have people come out and they do
Have a good night, man.
I would say it's like a Taibo. It's like Taibo,
Okay.
right? Like cardio kickboxing. They listen to music and they start moving around, and it's to a certain time. But the combinations and the instructor is a retired professional fighter, so the combinations aren't just your basic like Taibo workout. There is technique. They start you with boxing, they move you into kickboxing, but they're simple techniques because they're made for the general public. But it's been a lot of fun. I'm going to that thing next week, and it gave me the idea that if you're a martial artist and you're trying to do something easy to present to the general public, the format of it's pretty cool. Like it's just about 1 hour, about an hour with breaks, where they play music and they warm you up, and then they start. It's a little under an hour. It's probably actually 30 minutes of actual work, and
Good cardio.
Yeah, great cardio. And you just do a workout. You sit there and you do combinations like jab straight, roundhouse kick, in a shadow box format. And then every 5 minutes they let you take a water break and come back and take a water break and come back. But it's been a lot of fun, and I've been bringing people that don't, like my wife, who doesn't. She's not a martial artist, but she enjoyed it, so she comes into that. So yeah, if there's a night, if you were trying to think of a program to do with the general public, I think that
That's a
has
good one. I think a lot of people didn't like Billy Blanks because it's not UFC stuff, but it's people want that. People need that. It's better than them sitting on the couch.
It's much better than them sitting on the couch. Well, I think that's going to be the wrap up for our wrap up of the end of year wrap up. If anybody has any questions, you can ask them now. John?
I've asked all I needed to know. I just wanted to hear what you thought of his beard. That's it.
Yep. Okay. I think it's a beautiful beard. We'll let you know if we get 200 likes before Christmas, if Tim has to dye it. And for the rest of you, thank you for following Social Gelo with Angelo podcast, a podcast about social psychology, cultures, martial arts culture, and once in a while, a lot of times, Kajukenbo.
Once in a while, my ass.
Yeah, most of the time. Most of the time. But either way, I really appreciate you. That's why I did this live for y'all. I wanted to say thank you very much for following the show and supporting it for this long. And thank you again. Thank you again. Thank you again. I'm gonna make sure I get your name. Thank you again, Toby. I really appreciate that. And then for those of you who want to know more about Kajukenbo, I don't know if it'll be here. You can look at my channel. I have the What is Kajukenbo. There's a bunch of stuff about Kajukenbo on there, as well as the internet. If you're looking for a school to train at, you can Google it, and there's plenty of schools out there. Catch y'all next time.